I had someone ask me recently, when is the financial crisis supposed to begin? Here is how I responded to them. It began in 2008. Just because you personally have been surviving the last 14 years does not mean we're not in a financial crisis. In fact, it began in 2006 when they started putting out all the fake mortgages. So we had a conversation and I told them in 2006, the debts of the United States have doubled. There was a housing crisis crash worldwide from 2008 to 2010. Most small towns, their economy did not recover until 2016. I'm talking small towns like the one I live in. There were millions of home loans people put out of their houses that never recovered. There were a few million small businesses that never ever came back. Then we had a 2.5-year worldwide pandemic that financially almost destroyed the entire world. And we just got over it in the past 2 or 3 months. Not the financial part, just the pandemic part. Millions of people died worldwide. Since January, inflation on food has risen almost 15%. They don't want to say it's 15%, but now the news is starting to say, well, it's about 15%. On some products, it's 30%. I have personally found products to where it's 100%. The price of the product has doubled. Gas has more than doubled, but now it's going back down. Kroger, the second largest grocery store in the United States and the world, now wants to buy Albertsons and Safeway. Just last month, inflation was 8 point something percent. Last year at this time it was 5%. This year it's 8%. So technically in exactly 12 months, you've received 13% inflation from September of 21 to September of 2022. For 2 years, Walmart, the stores ran out of products. They ran out of shoes, clothes. You couldn't find items. You couldn't buy items. So this person asked me, when is the financial crisis supposed to begin? You go, I don't know if this is happening in your area, but if you go to the grocery store, it doesn't matter what grocery store, all the strawberries are rotten. They're actually trying to sell rotten strawberries. So my response was, the financial crisis began in 2006 from greed, envy, worldwide banks trying to make billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. Just because this particular person has survived from 2008 all the way through 2000, going to be pushing 2023 now, doesn't mean that the world's not slowly crumbling and collapsing. So now the Fed is going to raise interest rates again in November and possibly December, making mortgage rates on a house 8%. Do you realize it only took 6 months? Mortgages went from like 3% to 8% in less than 6 months. Last year at this time, it was about 53% of Americans were living paycheck to paycheck. Now, 1 year later, 64% of Americans claim they're living paycheck to paycheck. If you bought a house last year, even at the extraordinary high prices, and let's say your mortgage was $1,400, if you buy a house in February or March of next year, the same exact mortgage for the same price of a house is going to go from $1,400 to about $1,800. And millions of people will not be able to afford houses, which will put an enormous stress upon rentals. People won't afford the rent anymore. So then they said there's going to be worldwide food shortages in the spring of 2023. We haven't even got to that yet. I don't know if you know this, but they canceled the snow crab, Alaskan snow crab season for the first time. They can't find 1 billion crabs. They weren't born, they died, the ocean swallowed, they can't find them. About a third of them, the coastal Alaska communities, depend on that snow crabbing season to make it through the winter financially. And the season has been closed. The average person got a 4% raise, and inflation is 8%, gas is 100%, and some food is 30%. So what did that do to your 4% raise? You're now running at a negative. Now, my friend said, when is the financial crisis supposed to begin, Dave? I wasn't shocked. That's the average attitude that I see. As long as people have some money, their bills are paid, they have chicken wings, food, ranch dressing, chicken wings and ranch dressing. As long as they have the potato chips, the candy bars, the sodas, the coffee, as long as people have their coffee. See, they don't believe we're in a financial crisis. They don't pay attention, times 1,000. They do not pay attention to 1,000% ever. They pay more attention to their favorite TV show than they do what's going on financially. Russia is in a war with Ukraine. China says it will go to war with the United States if they interfere in Taiwan next year. North Korea is shooting off dozens of rockets next to Japan and South Korea. The Bible speaks of a coming war, the war of Ezekiel. I won't go into detail. If you want to know more about it, you can just look it up yourself on the internet. The average credit card debt per person is $6,500 now. When the government gave out all the stimulus checks, people paid off a lot of their credit cards. Well, now the average credit card debt is it's way up, back again to $6,500 per person. The average brand new truck payment I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud in my lifetime. I mean, I'm 60 years old. I never thought I'd hear something like this. The average brand new truck payment or car payment, not truck, the average any kind of car payment, brand new, it's like $680. The average used car payment is like $500 now per month. My friend asked, when is the financial crisis going to begin that everybody talks about? Well, if it gets any worse than it has since 2008, all the way to 2023, I mean, how bad do you want it to get before you personally do something about it? Now, what can you do? You can pay off all your credit cards. You can sell your house and get into an apartment and stop making those $1,500 a month payments. And then you need $300 a month to fix up the house. Homeowners know this. 60%, 60% of millennials that bought a house in the last 3 years say they want to get out as fast as possible because of the monthly expenses that come with owning a house every single month. That does not include mortgage. That's all the extra things they never tell you about. 60% of millennials regret buying a house. Pay off all your debt. Pay off all your credit cards. Stock up cans of food and water. So, you know the Mississippi River is running out of water? You can look it up online. The Colorado River is running out of water. See, governments are causing all this, but only to a certain percentage. This is coming from the hand of God, I believe. We have turned away from God as a nation, and we are suffering financially, and we are going to suffer more than even that in the future. I believe the next 3 years are going to be real hard on the United States of America. I pray that it does not happen. I pray every day for many things. But if you just go by common sense and you look around and you look at those 8% interest rates now, if you're one of the lucky few that has $1 million in the bank, you're going to start getting paid interest on your money. You'll start getting 3 or 4% here in the next year or so. So you'll be getting 30 or 40,000 interest on $1 million for doing nothing. That's less than 10% of the population. I will finish with this. In these small towns here along the Oregon coast, I've driven from Astoria all the way down to Brookings. Every single town, I mean, I'm talking towns of like 3,000 people. They've had 10 businesses close that never opened again. They've never opened. They've never recovered. You go to Coos Bay, 25,000 people. They've probably had 300 businesses close in the last 2 years that have never recovered, never came back. The building is empty. The homeless population has gone up about 40% in 3 years. As I'm making this video out on the street where I live, there's 9 different automobiles with people living in them right now tonight. So my friend asked, when is the financial crisis going to begin? I will just leave it at that.